Hello everyone, and welcome to Northeast News. I'm Tajanique Lido. We bring you all the latest news and entertainment from the campus of Northeast College Preparatory High School. Taking a look now at the news out of NECP. In celebration of Black History Month, our NEN staff took on the task of bringing you the story of an encounter between one of Rochester's well-known businessmen and the other, a famous African-American leader during that time. Dr. David Kramer, a fellow at the Center for Public History at Nazareth College, recounts the possible events leading up to and during Booker T. Washington's visit to George Eastman's home.
One evening in the early 1900s, just about dinner time, an unexpected guest approached the George Eastman mansion on East Avenue. That man was the former slave, Booker T. Washington.
According to lore, when the butler told Eastman that Washington was walking up the driveway in a business suit, Eastman, attired in full coat and tails, fast went upstairs and redressed, so Washington would not feel out of place. Eastman promptly invited Washington to join him in visiting English friends for dinner and an evening of entertainment. This impromptu event appears inconsequential, except, almost certainly, this was the first and only time an African American ever ate privately with George Eastman. Yet, despite what would seem its historical significance, the dinner was never publicly discussed and only came to light some 65 years later. At that time, Washington was the most well-known and influential African American in the United States. Educator, reformer, author, orator, spokesman, founder of Tuskegee Institute, Washington represented the last generation of black leaders born in slavery. In 1901, when invited by President Theodore Roosevelt, Washington became the first African American to dine at the White House. During this period, Washington and Eastman developed a close association. In 1892, along with President Benjamin Harrison and Frederick Douglass, Washington was invited to the dedication of Kodak Park. In 1902, after having read Washington's autobiography, Up from Slavery, Eastman promptly donated $5,000 to Tuskegee. Over the next decade, Eastman would become a primary benefactor. The two maintained a steady correspondence, sometimes meeting during Washington's numerous public speaking appearances in Rochester. So why was the dinner, apparently never discussed, and has virtually disappeared into the ether of lost memory? While Eastman championed progressive causes, he never advocated racial integration. As Marion Gleason writes in The George Eastman I Knew, 1971, Eastman's attitude toward Negroes was typical of his time, paternalistic, but strictly against social fraternization. It was not until Gleason's research, based upon a story from Eastman's housekeeper, that the dinner barely came to light. The housekeeper makes a telling observation. Fortunately, the guests were British and did not object to a black man dining with them. Given his reticence on the subject, Eastman would not have wanted to raise eyebrows in his Rochester circle nor alienate his Southern friends. Washington's own reticence may have stemmed from the reaction to his White House invitation. Especially in the South, the dinner is deemed an offensive breach of racial etiquette. South Carolina's Pitchfork Ben Tillman declared Roosevelt's actions would necessitate the killing of 10,000 Ends before they learn their place again. Washington would have wanted to shield Eastman. Washington's cautious approach when confronting racism came at the price of personal pain. He forever had to mask his criticisms, always couched in the mildest and least threatening terms, holding his tongue and biting his lip.
Fundamentally, Washington was a man of deep courage. It took boldness to accept Eastman's invitation. After all, he was an uninvited guest, and then courageous self-restraint to never say anything about it again.
Out of thousands of applications each college look at, there's always that burning question. What is it that colleges focus on when looking at students' college application? Here's Jennifer Polanco, admissions counselor at St. John Fisher College, with that answer.
Well, we do look at everything when we are reviewing an application, so we usually ask students to submit recommendation letters, submit obviously their transcript, SAT scores, extracurricular activities if they have any. But I usually tell students, if you look at the admissions process as a circle, 60% of that circle, it is your transcript and your SAT score. So we put a lot more emphasis on the classes that you are taking and how well you're doing in those classes, and also how well you did on your SAT, ACT scores.
Coming up next month, some possible scholarships to apply for at St. John Fisher College. Some Northeast students had a little luck on their side after earning their way into a drawing. 4 students cashed in on the district's Good Behavior Initiative and were among several students chosen over the last few months to be in the drawing. It's what landed them with a cool ride to school. Mr. Curie, the PBIS administrator, was on hand to greet the students as they arrived.
Okay, one of our initiatives here at Northeast College Prep is a sweet ride to school. This is how we ride to school at Northeast College Prep. A stretch limousine. Not bad, right?
Janelle Austin, Delise Perez, Brianna Torres, and Matthew Nix received the Pride Bucks and the fun ride to NECP. And that does it for this month. Thanks for watching NEN Northeast News. I'm Tajanique Lido.